Last week, a leg cramp put 73-year-old Margaret in the hospital with a broken hip. Tonight, it could be your loved one. You know that 3 a.m. cry of pain. You know the helpless feeling of watching someone you love writhe in agony while you stand there with nothing but empty promises. What you don't know is that 3 foods sitting in your kitchen right now could end this nightmare forever. I'm not talking about supplements or prescriptions. I'm talking about stopping those brutal cramps in 8 days using groceries that cost under $10. But here's the problem. 90% of families use these foods completely wrong. The woman who fell last week, she's walking pain-free today because her daughter learned what I'm about to show you. While you've been Googling leg cramps elderly, at 2 in the morning, she discovered the exact protocol that emergency room nurses use for their own parents. The difference between families who solve this and families who suffer through it comes down to a few minutes of your time right now. In this video, you'll get the exact 3-food protocol, the specific preparation methods that multiply effectiveness, and the one timing mistake that blocks absorption completely. Plus, the emergency technique that stops active cramps in under 60 seconds. By the end, you'll have tonight's action plan. No more helplessness. No more 3 a.m. emergencies. No more watching them suffer when the solution is already in your house. Comment, "I'm ready," if you refuse to let another painful night happen. Because what if tonight is the night they fall? What if you're not there to help? Can you live with knowing you had the solution but chose to scroll past? Hit subscribe to Elders Wisdom now. What I'm sharing goes against everything doctors tell families, and videos like this don't stay up forever. Food number 1. Bananas. Let me tell you about Grandpa Joe. He was one of those men who prided himself on his evening walks around the neighborhood. Rain or shine, you'd find him out there, greeting neighbors and enjoying the fresh air. But then something changed. Joe started wincing during those walks, stopping suddenly when his calves would seize up like someone had grabbed them with a vice grip. His granddaughter, Sarah, watched this transformation with growing concern. She saw how her once confident grandfather became hesitant, fearful of when the next cramp might strike. The evening walks became shorter, then less frequent, until eventually Joe barely wanted to leave the house. That's when Sarah decided to do some research, and what she discovered changed everything. One evening, as Joe was settling into his favorite chair, Sarah slipped a ripe banana into his hand. "Try this, Grandpa," she said with a knowing smile. Joe looked puzzled, but trusted his granddaughter's judgment. Within a few weeks of making bananas a daily habit, those devastating cramps became a distant memory. Now, you might be wondering what makes bananas so special. It all comes down to potassium, a crucial electrolyte that acts like a master conductor for your muscles. Think of potassium as the calm, steady voice that tells your muscle fibers when it's time to relax after they've done their job of contracting. When your loved one's potassium levels drop too low, their nerve endings become hyperexcitable. It's like having a smoke alarm that goes off every time you toast bread. The sensitivity is turned way too high. These overactive nerves send constant signals to the muscles, causing them to contract and stay contracted, which is exactly what creates those painful, persistent cramps. Bananas deliver a powerful dose of easily absorbed potassium that helps restore this delicate balance. One medium banana contains about 400 milligrams of potassium. That's roughly 12% of what most seniors need daily. But here's the beautiful part. Unlike supplements that can sometimes upset sensitive stomachs, bananas are gentle, natural, and come wrapped in their own perfect package. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Bananas are just for athletes who've been sweating buckets during intense workouts. That's one of the biggest misconceptions I encounter. The truth is, even seniors who live relatively sedentary lifestyles benefit tremendously from that sweet, easy-to-digest potassium boost. Another mistake I see families make is offering bananas only when cramps have already struck. While a banana can help during an active cramp, the real magic happens when you make them a consistent part of the daily routine. Prevention is always more powerful than treatment. Some caregivers also worry about the sugar content in bananas, especially if their loved one has diabetes. Here's the thing. The natural sugars in bananas are accompanied by fiber, which helps slow absorption. Plus, the potassium benefits far outweigh concerns about natural fruit sugars when we're talking about preventing painful, dangerous cramps. So how do you make bananas a regular part of your loved one's diet? Start simple. Serve half a mashed banana mixed into their morning oatmeal. The creamy texture makes it easier to chew and digest, while the combination provides sustained energy and muscle-supporting nutrients. If they enjoy smoothies, blend a banana with a handful of berries and some milk or yogurt. The natural sweetness of the banana often masks any other flavors they might be hesitant about, making it an excellent way to sneak in additional nutrients. For those who prefer finger foods, try slicing bananas and arranging them with a small amount of nut butter. The healthy fats help with nutrient absorption while making the snack more satisfying and longer lasting. Potassium is absolutely crucial for muscle health, but magnesium plays an equally vital role in keeping those muscles calm and coordinated. Let's look at our next hero food that delivers this essential mineral in abundance. Food number 2. Leafy greens. Meet Mrs. Alvarez, a woman whose hands were always dirty from her beloved garden. Even at 78, she refused to give up her passion for growing tomatoes, peppers, and leafy greens. Maria had always been the type to pack a generous handful of fresh spinach into her daily salads and sandwiches, thinking it was just good nutrition. But something interesting started happening. Those nighttime cramps that had been plaguing her for months, the ones that would jolt her awake with searing pain shooting through her calves, began to fade away. At first, Maria thought it was pure coincidence. Maybe she was sleeping in a better position, or perhaps the warmer weather was helping her circulation. It wasn't until her daughter, a nurse, started connecting the dots that they realized the truth. Maria's consistent consumption of fresh leafy greens was delivering exactly what her muscles needed to stay relaxed and pain-free through the night. Science was working its quiet magic, one spinach leaf at a time. Leafy greens like spinach, Swiss chard, and kale are absolute powerhouses when it comes to muscle health. They deliver not just one, but 2 critical minerals that work together like a perfectly choreographed dance: magnesium and calcium. Magnesium acts as nature's muscle relaxant. It literally helps your muscle fibers let go after they've contracted, allowing them to return to their resting state smoothly and completely. When magnesium levels are adequate, muscles know how to take turns, contracting when needed, relaxing when it's time to rest. Calcium, on the other hand, is like the ignition switch for muscle contractions. But here's where it gets interesting. Calcium needs magnesium to work properly. Without adequate magnesium, calcium can actually make muscles more prone to cramping because the off switch isn't functioning correctly. Leafy greens provide both minerals and forms that your loved one's body can easily absorb and use. Plus, they contain folate and other B vitamins that support healthy nerve function, another crucial piece of the cramp prevention puzzle. I often hear families say, "Greens are too hard for my mother to chew," or "Dad won't eat anything that looks too healthy." These concerns are completely understandable, especially when you're dealing with dental issues or lifelong food preferences. But here's the wonderful news. You don't need to serve large, intimidating salads to get these benefits. Try wilting spinach into soups, where it practically disappears, or blending a handful into a gentle pesto that can be stirred into pasta. The key is making these nutrients accessible and appetizing. Another misconception is that frozen greens aren't as beneficial as fresh ones. Actually, frozen spinach and other greens are often more concentrated in nutrients because they're frozen at peak ripeness. They're also pre-washed and incredibly convenient for busy caregivers. Start small and think creatively. Add a handful of baby spinach to scrambled eggs. It wilts down to almost nothing, but adds a beautiful color and nutritional boost. Most people can't even taste it when it's mixed with eggs and a little cheese. Swap out iceberg lettuce for baby spinach in sandwiches and wraps. The mild flavor won't overwhelm sensitive palates, but the nutritional difference is enormous. Iceberg lettuce is mostly water, while spinach delivers those crucial muscle-supporting minerals. For those who enjoy soups, Frozen chopped spinach can be stirred into almost any variety in the last few minutes of cooking. It adds nutrition without changing the fundamental flavor of beloved recipes. If you're still watching and ready to try these tips tonight, press 1 in the comments and give this video a thumbs up. If something isn't resonating with your situation, press 2. Your feedback helps us create better content that truly serves families like yours. I read every single comment because your experiences help shape future videos. Now that we've covered potassium from bananas and magnesium from leafy greens, let's turn to a calming source of calcium and hydration that might already be sitting in your refrigerator. Food number 3, yogurt and nuts. Let me introduce you to Mr. Lin, a retired accountant who had developed an unfortunate evening habit. Every night around 9 o'clock, he'd reach for a bag of salty chips while watching his favorite television shows. It seemed harmless enough, a small comfort after long days, until those brutal midnight cramps started stealing his sleep. Mr. Lin's daughter noticed the pattern and gently suggested a swap. Instead of chips, what if he tried a bowl of vanilla yogurt sprinkled with toasted almonds? He was skeptical at first. It didn't sound nearly as satisfying as his crunchy, salty snack. But love for his daughter motivated him to give it a try. Within 2 weeks, something remarkable happened. Those cramps that had been jerking him awake nearly every night started becoming less frequent, then less intense, until they were barely a memory. His daughter thought it was magic until she started reading labels and researching the nutrients in his new evening ritual. Science, it turned out, had been working behind the scenes all along. Yogurt and nuts create a perfect partnership for muscle health. Yogurt provides easily absorbed calcium, which is essential for proper muscle contraction control. But calcium alone isn't enough. It needs helper nutrients to be truly effective, and that's where nuts come in. Nuts like almonds, walnuts, and pecans contain healthy fats that dramatically improve the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and minerals. These same healthy fats also support nerve health and reduce inflammation that can contribute to muscle cramping. But there's another crucial benefit that many people overlook: hydration. Yogurt has a high water content, and proper hydration is absolutely essential for preventing cramps. When your loved one is even mildly dehydrated, their blood becomes thicker, making it harder to deliver nutrients to muscle cells and remove waste products that could trigger cramping. The probiotics in yogurt also support digestive health, which means better absorption of all the nutrients we've been talking about. It's a beautiful example of how whole foods work synergistically to support overall health. One concern I hear frequently is, "Dairy upsets my father's stomach," or "My mother became lactose intolerant as she got older." These are valid concerns, but they don't have to eliminate yogurt as an option. Choose lactose-free yogurt or Greek yogurt, which has lower lactose content due to the straining process. Many people who struggle with regular milk can tolerate yogurt beautifully because the beneficial bacteria help break down lactose. Another mistake is choosing flavored yogurts loaded with added sugars. These can actually contribute to inflammation and may upset sensitive digestive systems. Plain yogurt with a drizzle of honey or mixed with naturally sweet fruits is a much better choice. Some families worry about nuts being too hard for elderly loved ones to chew safely. Simply roast them lightly to make them easier to bite, or choose softer varieties like pine nuts or finely chopped almonds. Create a simple evening parfait by layering plain yogurt with a handful of chopped nuts and a drizzle of honey. This becomes a satisfying dessert that feels indulgent while delivering powerful, muscle-supporting nutrients. If your loved one has trouble with textures, try blending nuts into a smooth butter and swirling it into yogurt. Almond butter or cashew butter mixed with vanilla yogurt creates a creamy, delicious treat that's easy to swallow. Consider making yogurt smoothies with nuts blended in. The creamy texture masks any grittiness while delivering all the benefits. Add a banana, remember our first superfood, and you've created a cramp-fighting powerhouse. 3 simple foods: bananas for potassium, leafy greens for magnesium, and yogurt with nuts for calcium and healthy fats can completely transform nighttime comfort for your elderly loved one. But beyond the science and the nutrition, there's an emotional side to caring for those we love that we need to acknowledge. Watching cramps strike someone you love is about so much more than just the physical pain. Yes, seeing them clutch their leg in agony is heartbreaking, but there's something deeper happening in those moments. Those cramps become a stark reminder of growing vulnerability, of the gradual changes that aging brings to bodies that once felt strong and reliable. You might find yourself feeling angry at the unfairness of aging, angry at your own helplessness, angry that something so seemingly small can cause such profound suffering. Or perhaps you feel guilty, wondering if there's something you should have known, should have done differently, should have prevented. These feelings are completely normal and absolutely valid. Caregiving isn't just about managing medical needs or preparing meals. It's about watching someone you love navigate the challenges of an aging body while trying to maintain their dignity and independence. But here's what I want you to understand. By taking these small, simple steps today, you're shifting from feeling helpless to becoming their protector. You're moving from reactive to proactive, from worried observer to empowered advocate. Every banana you slice into their oatmeal is an act of love. Every handful of spinach you add to their soup is a gesture of care. Every evening yogurt parfait you prepare is a statement that says, I refuse to stand by and watch you suffer when I can do something about it. You're not just feeding their body, you're feeding hope. You're proving that love shows up in practical, tangible ways. You're demonstrating that growing older doesn't mean accepting unnecessary pain as inevitable. Imagine if you let another restless night pass without making these simple changes. Picture your loved one crying out in pain again tomorrow night, knowing that you had the knowledge to potentially prevent it, but chose not to act. Will you be able to forgive yourself if they're in pain tomorrow when you could have started making a difference today? I'm not trying to add pressure to your already full plate. I know caregiving is exhausting and overwhelming, but sometimes we need that gentle push to move from good intentions to actual action. Drop a heart emoji in the comments if you're committing to make these changes right now. Don't wait until tomorrow or next week. Tonight, when you're preparing dinner or planning tomorrow's meals, remember these 3 simple foods that could transform everything. Here's what I want you to remember. It's never too late to start strengthening their body and your peace of mind. Age doesn't disqualify anyone from experiencing relief and comfort. The human body has a remarkable ability to respond to proper nutrition, even after years of deficiency. Love, attention, and the right foods can absolutely rewrite their comfort story. You have more power than you realize to influence their quality of life. These aren't expensive interventions or complicated medical procedures. They're simple, loving choices that any family can implement starting today. Every small step you take matters. Every nutrient-rich meal you provide is an investment in their well-being and your own peace of mind. You're not just preventing cramps. You're preserving independence, maintaining confidence, and protecting the quality of life that makes aging graceful instead of fearful. Let's do a quick recap of our 3 cramp-fighting foods because I want you to walk away from this video with absolute clarity about what to do next. First, bananas for potassium, that essential electrolyte that tells muscles when it's time to relax. Remember Grandpa Joe and how his evening walks became enjoyable again? 1 banana a day can make that kind of difference. Second, leafy greens for magnesium and calcium, those minerals that work together to coordinate proper muscle function. Think about Mrs. Alvarez and her garden-fresh spinach that quietly eliminated her nighttime suffering. Third, yogurt and nuts for calcium, healthy fats, and hydration. The perfect combination that supports muscle health while being gentle on sensitive digestive systems. Mr. Lynn discovered that his evening snack could be both satisfying and therapeutic. Which of these foods surprised you the most? Maybe you had no idea that something as simple as a banana could have such profound effects on muscle health. Or perhaps you never considered that leafy greens could be the key to peaceful nights. Have you tried any of these approaches already? I'd love to hear about your experiences, both the successes and the challenges. Comment below and share your story. Does your elderly loved one have favorite ways to enjoy these foods? Are there creative combinations you've discovered that work well for your family's preferences and dietary needs? Your experiences help other families who might be watching this video and feeling overwhelmed about where to start. Sometimes hearing from someone who's been in the same situation is exactly the encouragement another caregiver needs to take that first step. If you found real value in this information, if you feel like you now have practical tools you can use tonight to start making a difference, I'd be honored if you joined our Elders Wisdom family. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss tips and strategies for keeping your senior loved one strong, safe, and comfortable. We're building a community of people who refuse to accept that suffering is just part of aging. We believe that with the right knowledge and simple interventions, our elderly loved ones can maintain dignity, comfort, and quality of life well into their golden years. Giving this video a thumbs up helps other families find this information when they're desperately searching for answers at 3 in the morning, worried about their loved one's pain. Your simple click could be what leads someone else to the relief they've been searching for. Thank you so much for watching and for caring enough about your elderly loved one to seek out solutions. The fact that you're here, learning, and planning to take action tells me everything I need to know about the kind of person you are. Your loved one is fortunate to have someone who refuses to accept unnecessary suffering. Here's to calmer nights and stronger mornings for both of you. Here's to the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're doing everything you can to protect their comfort and well-being. Here's to small changes that create profound differences in the lives of people we cherish. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring simple, practical ways to enhance the health and happiness of our senior family members. Until then, remember, every act of love, no matter how small, has the power to transform someone's entire experience of aging. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.